So here's a quick talk through of colons and semicolons, both how to use them and how you might see them on the test. And that is something that will be really helpful because they're very repetitive on the test. So colons, you don't use these often. We just don't. They oftentimes will introduce a list. So after a colon, you should generally look for a list. It can also lead to a word that's supposed to jump out as well, like lead you up to this word and then reveal it. And that's the uses of colons. That's really it. So be thinking about, if you see that on a choice, is it appropriate? Semicolons are more complicated. They're almost always just used to join two independent clauses, which is just another word for two full sentences. They can be used by themselves if the clauses are related, or they can be in what we call a three-part kit with what it's a conjunctive adverb. However, furthermore, therefore, and so on. Not coordinating conjunctions like and, so be careful you don't look for those. And here, be on the lookout, because this is a classic run-on. We have a full sentence on one side and a full sentence on the other with a plain comma. Can't do that. Lots of ways to fix it, but it's wrong. So here's how it would be fixed with a classic single semicolon. And that's it. Here's how it would be fixed with the three-part kit. Now you have to choose the correct conjunctive adverb that makes sense. Furthermore is more for emphasis, whereas conversely is more for opposites, but be able to verify there's a full sentence or an independent clause on both sides. They can, just so you know, be used to clarify if there's a list with commas all over it, which is extremely confusing. So adding more commas will just make a big mess of it. Semicolons can be used in a list, not common and likely not on the test. So take a look at this without even a test question. Stimulus, right? Look at the choices. Look at how a comma and would imply you're joining two sentences, or you have a list. And a colon after airplanes, you'd have to know on the right side should be a full sentence. And a colon after airplanes, I think I said colon, semicolon after airplanes. Colon after airplanes here, again, what would be a list following that? So on the right side of this slide, you can see the kind of the talk through of, well, wait a second, which one would even make sense? So this test question, another point to bear in mind, that jigsaw puzzle enthusiasts during the Depression discovered what many are rediscovering today. There's a pause there, comma, that working on a jigsaw puzzle is a great way to reduce stress. Okay, comma really doesn't work there, so you can get rid of a colon, right? We have something you're led to there, so that's an interesting choice. So we have a semicolon would mean you need a full sentence on the right side, so that's a problem. And if you had nothing, letter D, that wouldn't make sense. That would be almost a run-on sentence. So here again, if you just look at those choices, a lot of students will go, "Oh, I don't know, semicolon, colon, I'm not sure." You're going to be sure if you think about it. Here again, another example. Eventually, the medieval castle was rendered obsolete by the invention of gunpowder, comma. Today, it is a relic. You can tell that's two full sentences. All right, so there's a problem. So it can't stay that way. So you can get rid of A. Choice D, so that doesn't work. Choice B, you don't always want to start two new sentences. Remember that we're not just always dealing with right and wrong on these tests. We're dealing with what's more stylistically correct. So nevertheless, semicolon, nevertheless, comma is a perfect use of that three-part kit we talked about. So try to keep in mind, you're going to see these all over. And oftentimes they're in the list of choices and are completely wrong and irrelevant. And now you can just cross them off, which is awesome. And that's the beauty of it. If you just keep these rules in mind, you're going to say, okay, I know that's wrong. I don't even need to, that's impossible. Semicolon and, that doesn't work. I don't even need to look back at the passage. Watch out for doing that, though, carelessly, like just looking in the choices and going, oh, semicolon and then a list. That's got to be it. Well, maybe. Go back and look at it. And then remember that sometimes it's not always the first correct answer. In fact, the rules for ACT question writers are that there must be two plausible answers. That doesn't mean two right answers. It means two possible answers. Obviously, the days of just finding the obvious right answer on tests are over as you get into college admissions. So please keep this in mind, and it should really help you.